Please tell us what is that you do now, and how did you get to this position?
Currently, I'm the chief advisor to the mayor of the city of New York. So I'm one of three direct reports in the inner office to the mayor. He has the first deputy mayor, the chief of staff, and me. We're in the office with him. So we're the direct reports. We're in the office. Of course, our police commissioner is a direct report. Our school's chancellor is a direct report. I worked my way up slowly. I started out as a volunteer on a campaign for my former Congress member, who was one of my mentors. His name was Congressman Major R. Owens. My mother-in-law, who at the time wasn't my mother-in-law, she was my boyfriend's mom.
Okay.
And to volunteer in her office, and I volunteered in her office, and I wrote a grant for her, and a series of grants, and they got funded. So then she asked me to volunteer on her friend's campaign. So I started volunteering with the Congress member, who was my Congress member, and I loved him. He was a nice person, and I volunteered for about 2 weeks, and then they hired me. And they started to train me on how to run campaigns while I was waiting to become a teacher. So after the campaign, he won, and he hired me to work on his team. I worked for him from September until October 4th. I'll never forget that date because I became a teacher, October 4th. But during that same time frame, I continued, as I was a teacher, I continued to work with elected officials and to help them. And I got a reputation of the lady on Montgomery Street, my family home, I still have that house, who helped people in the community. Because although I work with elected officials, I'm a community advocate. So I always believed in helping people. If they had an issue, they had a problem, I'm happy to help. And that's how I was raised. And I believe that that's part of my parents' upbringing. So I started out with Major Owens. My husband and our mayor were in the police academy together when I was becoming a teacher in 1984, and they became friends. And throughout their tenure in the police department, they remained as friends. And when the mayor was in his 22nd year in the police department, he asked me to run his campaign for Senate, which I did. And he won, and I became his chief of staff. And our career started from there. In between that, I helped a lot of elected officials. I worked with our Attorney General, Letitia James, when she was running to be a council member. I helped her. I helped Hakeem Jeffries, who's a Congress member, when he was running to be an assembly member. I worked for an assembly member also for a number of years before I transitioned to become the campaign manager for our mayor. I helped a lot of other elected officials, former ones, Jesse Hamilton, Kareem Kamara. I helped Kevin Parker. I helped a lot, and I helped a lot of people to become judges throughout my career. So, but it's all started, I really got heavily involved and engaged with our current mayor. When I ran his campaign, that's when my trajectory and my career moved in a much different direction. And I just, became more known and respected in the political realm then.
How did the congressman become your mentor?
Well, I was 19 and I didn't know anything at all about politics. And he started to, talk to me about politics, and he explained to me about what it meant to be a Democrat, what it meant to be a member of the county Democratic Party. And it's not what people call a machine. In fact, it's insulting because we're a Democratic Party and we do work, real work and good work in the community. And he had a bunch of older people, statesmen and women, who also took me under their wing, and they started to teach me different things and tell me what it meant to work in government, and how when you work in government, it's your job to be of service. And that's one thing that I like about our current mayor. He's an elected official who is elected to serve. So when you work in government, it's service driven. I'm a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, a proud member for 40 years. And it's a service-driven organization. I'm also an Eastern Star, all service-driven organization. So we do work in the community, and that matters.
Please tell us about your heritage, where you're coming from, where you were born, how it was. I know you grew up in Brooklyn, but you have immigrant heritage. Please share about that.
I do. So yes, I was born in New York, in Brooklyn to be exact, and I was raised in Brooklyn. My mother born in New York as well, but she was raised in Barbados, and her family, her parents were of Barbadian and Panamanian heritage, as well as my father's relatives. So we have that mixture in our family, and I'm very proud of it.
Are you connected to your heritage?
Well, yeah, we cook a lot of ethnic foods, of course. I grew up on basic West Indian foods, peas and rice and peas, chicken and rice, which the Latinos call arroz con pollo. A lot of ethnic foods, cuckoo, which is a staple in Barbados. And I have a lot of relatives who are still in Barbados. And most of my Panamanian relatives have immigrated here. And it was really weird because we didn't realize our lineage when we were little as much as we do now. So it's good.
Do you think that growing up with the immigrant background influenced who you became?
Oh, 100%, absolutely. My parents always believed in helping people. So when in our home, we lived in an apartment building until I was around 4 or 5, I can't remember. I was 4, maybe turning 5. And we always had relatives coming in from, Barbados, basically, staying with us and helping along the way. Then when my parents bought a home, we had a number of relatives who lived in our house. It was a 2-family house, so we would rent out the apartment at an affordable rent to a relative. They always helped. And we always helped our friends who came in from, the various countries to assimilate and become more Americanized, so to speak. We did. My parents felt very strongly in helping other people, and we did that. And I'm proud of it. Oriented. That's my nature. And I believe that it is from my parents. I believe that.
How being a teacher influenced your career and serving to different politicians and helping them?
Well, being a teacher didn't do that. I was a teacher and I was good at what I did. Then I went on to run a program at Immigrants College, and I enjoyed it very much. Again, service driven.
Yes.
When I partnered with Mayor Adams, that's when I decided, okay, I'm going to stay with this. I ran his campaign in 2006, but we started politically in 2004.
Okay.
We had to put the structure in place. And a lot of people knew him from when he was a member of an organization called 100 Blacks in Law Enforcement Who Care. And people thought that he was something other than what he is. He's a community activist. Some people thought because he would stand up for the rights of the disenfranchised that he was a racist, but he wasn't. He stood up for the rights of all people, not just people who were Black or Latino. He helped the Hasidic community, for example, and the Asian community, Bangladeshi, and to this day, he's noted for that. And once I ran his campaign, he asked me if I would become his chief of staff. I had to think about it because I'm a political person, but again, I'm a community activist first.
Yes.
And I also believe that I have my rights as a human being. And sometimes when you work for an elected official, it's very difficult because your principal may want you to forego your right as a human being. And I just could never do that. And I had a conversation with him about that. And he assured me that would never be the case. And it hasn't been, because we cut a good deal where we try to always work in partnership. And I'm respectful of the fact that he is who he is as the elected official. And I'm a team member, a member of his staff, but he also respects the fact that I'm a human being and that I have rights. So it made a good partnership. And the thing that was especially gratifying for me is that, like Ingrid, our mayor is a community activist. So it was very easy for me to work with him and to work long with him and hard with him because we care about some of the very same issues. We want to make sure that things are better for the people in which he is elected to serve. And as his, team member, I want to make sure that my work lives up to the level and the standard that he would expect it to be to support his constituency and his base. So I really got more heavily engaged in the political realm under my work partnership with our current mayor.
What is the biggest benefit in your work that makes you get up every morning, say, yes, I'm going and changing the world?
Well, we do so many things to help people in general. We do so much to help people in general. When I look at what the mayor has done with the homeless, taking them off the streets and putting them into decent confines and giving them wraparound services. When I look at his mindset about education, how he wants to ensure that people who are dyslexic like he was, are given an opportunity to get the proper care so that they too can flourish. But what makes me happy and what makes me really feel charged is that I know that there are young people who look like me, who see me, and they say, if that sister can do it, then I can do it too. And they come from the very same community that I was born and raised in. And it's important that people who look like me know that there is a pathway for success and that one doesn't have to go into the street in order to be successful. So that's what makes me tick. I think even if I weren't in the political realm, if I were in education, that would be it for me, you know.
I agree with you. And on this note of being a role model for the ladies from your community with your background, and as well what we see a lot of between different immigrant communities and unserved communities, what words of inspiration you would give to them to empower them and tell them, listen, you can do it?
Well, they can do it. I'm living testimony that you can do it. Our mayor is living testimony that you can do it. My parents didn't have an education, but they made sure that their children received one. So I would encourage anyone that whatever your dream is, pursue it. You just have to be focused and never give up. Do not allow people to tell you that you cannot do something, because you can do whatever you set your mind to doing. I believe in that. I remember I did something called a Wilson Pakula for our Attorney General. She was running for her reelection for City Council then. And the gentleman who was training me on what I needed to do, the first thing he told me was, you know, and in this tone, and I love him, we're really good friends. You're never going to be able to get it done. It's impossible to do. It's only been done once in the history of New York State. And I said to him, wait, stop. Don't tell me what I can't do. Just tell me what I need to do. You know, one has to believe in oneself. If you believe in yourself and you believe that what you want to do is attainable, go for it. And I believe in God. I'm not telling people about religion or anything like that, but I believe in God. I believe that there is a superior being. There's one person, one entity, one being that has given us life and breath. And I pray, and I always ask God to give me strength and have humility. Be humble. You know, even if you are in a position where you are a big person or whatever it is, I don't even know what that means, to be honest. Have humility and always think of others as you would your own self. The way you want to be treated is the way you should treat everyone. So no matter what the person does in life, give the person the same courtesy that you would want to have. All of these things matter as one is pursuing one's career. And you never know who's going to help you in your career. The most unexpected people can help you in your career. So always have humility and give back. Once you achieve your goal, give back to your community. That's very important.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much for this interview, for taking your time and sharing your story. It's been really an honor.
Well, I'm humbled, and I thank you for having me. I didn't realize what this was until we spoke earlier, and I'm humbled that you would even think to include me, because most people don't want to include a team member. They want to include the principal.
Yes.
And so for you to include me is humbling. And it also serves another purpose, because a lot of people don't know about the different careers in government. They only think about the career of the elected official or the chief of staff or a deputy mayor. No one would think that there's a chief advisor to an elected official. And the title means what it says, you know, and there's so many other avenues that people can pursue in government. So I thank you for having me.
But just on the other note, I want to say, me personally, I think you are amazing and you are such inspiration, even to myself, knowing how long your journey was. And usually people don't see that. They think you just came and you're here.
It's very unusual for an elected official and a team member to work in partnership for the amount of years in which Eric and I have.
Yes.
But I have a tremendous amount of respect for him, and I believe in turn that he has for me as well. And I try to not cross the line. There's one elected official, and that's the mayor.
Okay.
I'm a team member, and I try to stay in my lane.